Okay, I am with Marcel. Her company is the Pantry Concept. It is a store, packaged free food store. She joins us from Kansas City, Kansas. Marcel, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me more about your concept, your business. Um, what is it? Give me some sort of quick level descriptions of what you're doing with that.
Okay, yeah, the Pantry Concept is a zero waste food store based in Kansas City. It's the first in Kansas City, and zero waste food stores are really plastic free bulk stores where you can buy a lot of locally sourced goods to reduce the carbon footprint of food traveling, and also to promote local farmers and food makers, organic food that's pesticide free, and basically just gives people the option to one, buy food in bulk without any packaging, so everything's sold by weight, and then also gives people the option to refill a lot of their items like soaps, vinegars, oils, things like that. So really, zero waste is just trying to remove plastic packaging from our food as much as possible.
So, is this kind of like a grocery store concept where you're going to have, a lot of the fresh stuff as well as a lot of your sort of center aisle, package or durable related goods products?
Right, it is. It's going to be, so all the dry goods, that's, quite a large selection of dry goods, anything from quinoa to almonds, um, butter nut stations where you can grind your own almond butter and peanut butter, and then, yeah, food fridges for milk and butter and things like that, yogurt, and then we'll have a fresh produce section working with local food growers in Kansas City. Um, we're also going to be a CSA pickup point, so corporate or CSA is customer supported agriculture, and that's quite huge in Kansas City. So we'll be a CSA pickup location, so people can support. One of the farms is the Roots for Refugees farm, and that's hosted and run by Cultivate Kansas City. And they're doing a lot of great stuff in the city with urban farming. So yeah, so a lot of, conventional grocery store without the packaging. So
Okay.
trying to just give people everything that they would get in a normal grocery store, minus the plastic.
Okay. So let me ask you, like the nearest concept, at least that I've seen locally here, is we have Sprouts, which is a chain, and they
Right.
do have kind of a small section where they got nuts and grains that you can get in bulk. Now, um, that seems to work really well for them. My only concern is are there any kind of sanitary issues when you're having people sort of reach in and grabbing and kind of packaging themselves?
Yeah, so some of the aisles or sections of the store would have to be assisted by staff members, and we'll have notices up that say, please ask for assistance. But, like similar to Sprouts and Whole Foods, people are able to, get their food in bulk currently. They just don't have a very large selection. So we're just going to be expanding that selection,
Ah,
and then, yeah, there are things, obviously, if we're changing the bins out with a new food, we'll have a commercial dishwasher to wash those plastic containers. And but yeah, this is not a new concept to Kansas. Well, it is to Kansas City, but this is not a new concept. It's actually very large in the UK and in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. They're very large franchises. Actually, the one called the Source Bulk Foods, they're opening up their
hmm.
first or second location in the States. So they're jumped across the pond a little bit, but they have, I think, 17 locations in Australia, and they opened only 6 or 7 years ago. So it's not, yeah, it's not totally new. I didn't come up with it. It is just going to be new to Kansas City, and I've done quite a bit of research. I've had a survey out for the last month and grown our Facebook and Instagram following. and I have some great results from the survey. A lot of people really want this. There are a few, quite a few people that consider themselves to be zero wasters already and are currently going to multiple places to be able to source all of their goods plastic free. So it's
Okay.
exciting to have something that's going to almost be a one-stop shop for people to be able to get everything they need without any plastic.
Okay, so it sounds like though you've got a lot of other analogs in other countries and other markets, that you're kind of serving a model, which is
Yes.
great.
And I've been working on the due diligence of this because I haven't started it yet. I'm just getting all of my I'm getting a convertible debt note, term sheet drawn up by lawyers, and I have some investors. So I'm just getting all my financial pieces together. But I've been doing the due diligence for a year, and I traveled to Cape Town, South Africa earlier this year, and I met with Nude Foods, the owner of Nude Foods, and got a lot of, I had 21 questions for him. So, and then there's a store called Nada Foods in Canada, and the one co-owner, Brianne, she's helped me and given me quite a lot of
Great.
information as well. So I've been really lucky. I've had some people that have already done it, kind of give me a lot of feedback and some guidance.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, and so your distribution channels is you've got your location. I mean, that's pretty easy.
Right.
In terms of, let's kind of jump a little to your marketing. So you mentioned obviously location based with Facebook, as well as probably other kinds of digital marketing, organic SEO. Are you looking into, offline marketing like local flyers, partnering with businesses in the community? I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot of legwork already. So tell me
Yes.
more about your marketing.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to be working with Kansas City Food Circle. They have a host of local growers that they work with and promote. And if I work with 3 or more of their vendors, they'll do events in the space. So those are food events for their members. They have membership programs that I think it's $50 a year, and then you get invited to all of these events that they do, and they work with a lot of obviously farmers and then chefs. There's a lot of farm to table restaurants in Kansas City. So it's very cool. They do a lot of cool stuff with local growers. So I would be working with their farmers. So I'd have some events happen in the space. Yeah, and then I think, something that I'd like to do is kind of embed this in education, because I think what's really important is knowing what to do with food. And I think that I've seen that with CSA as well. They give you like a digital newsletter the day that you pick up your vegetables, and they tell you what's in your bag, and then they also give you a recipe. So something that I would like to do is have kind of a recipe of the week that's kind of, central to the store, and it changes and it's seasonal, and it does give people, all the knowledge that they need to make this meal that we're promoting. So those kind of things. I don't know if that answers your question. Sorry.
No, it does. So you clearly, I mean, sort of on the digital side, you want to also bring in content marketing, which is great. That's different. You don't see that a lot in offline.
Yeah, I
Typically.
think what's really important is helping one, single person households. This is another great option for people that live alone, because they can buy food in the quantities that they need. And I think if they're buying food specifically to do something with it, with recipes involved, it's also not only assisting with plastic waste, it's also assisting with food waste, and also helping people to eat healthy, eat seasonal, eat locally grown food, and make, delicious meals. And I think that people just don't really know what to shop for and what to do with this food. And I think people eat out a lot, and then they get to that stage where they're like, I'm going to go grocery shopping. They don't know what to buy. They buy a bunch of stuff, and it ends up going to waste. So
Sure.
there's a couple of things that, we want to try and help people with, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about some of your customer retention strategies. You mentioned a membership program,
Right.
online ordering, which I'm curious who delivers, and then the educational homesteading, which I think we already touched on, which is related to your content marketing. So
Right.
talk about the first two.
Okay, cool. So the home delivery, I imagine that at some point, this kind of retail is a destination retail. It's an experience-based retail, which is awesome because that's, I feel like, where retail is moving, or has moved to. But at some point, it does add probably an extra 10 to 20 minutes maybe on your shopping experience in total, because you're bagging everything yourself and weighing it and stuff. So my idea, at least, is that once I've gained the trust of my following in Kansas City, that we could get some of their weekly staples delivered to their door. And also then use the retail as not only a retail but also as a fulfillment center, so we could pick, pack, and distribute from the retail facility, and we could do that in our quiet times. It is at least how I picture it. Once you start doing things, I don't know how it would work in reality, but that's the idea for the delivery. And I would just build a delivery platform on our website, and kind of similar to how Grubhub and all of that, you would tip your driver. So we would have a base salary for the driver that's not much. They'd be employed by us, and then every order would have a recommended kind of 10 to 20% tip, and that's kind of where he would make his money. So that's the home delivery. And then, sorry, remind me of the first one again.
Well, real quick on the home delivery. So you're planning on employing the driver, and actually, instead of outsourcing it, you want to manage that whole operation. Is that correct?
That is definitely something that's kind of how I've planned it. I have also thought of just trying to get onto like a Grubhub or something like that. And then I've also thought of outsourcing the courier service. And I did look into a locally owned one that's woman owned, I think also minority woman owned, which I really enjoyed. So I'm just gonna see. I'm not sure. It's not something I'm starting with either. So the retail will be the first thing I start with, and I'll move to the home delivery as an service option. My plan is within the next year. So I'm hoping to try to figure out some of those kinks.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the home delivery, if you look at a lot of existing, let's say grocery or any retail, they've built their operation for people to come to them, not to deliver. But you're already thinking about how do we sort of use our location as the retail plus fulfillment. You might be able to sort of cheaply figure out how to do it from the get-go. So that's great. That probably could give you a leg up. So let's talk about a membership program for a retention strategy.
So membership program, it's not going to be a huge revenue stream. Again, I kind of want to do what KC Food Circle's doing. It'll just be an annual membership of probably $50. And I'll use that money. One, obviously it's a retention, it's a retention strategy. But the membership program is where that educational piece comes in, and that's the members will get invited to educational programs and classes. People outside of the membership program will not. So my idea is just to use that revenue to basically break even on being able to give people educational workshops. Because I'll be outsourcing that. One, will not have the capacity, nor do I have the skill set. So I'll be looking to people to, provide workshops on different homesteading practices and things like that. So I'm hoping with that, it just kind of breaks even. I don't have to put any money into it. And that's kind of my idea with the membership program.
Okay. So tell me, what's the feel of your store? I mean, relative to, you want to kind of make the look and feel like a Whole Foods, a Sprouts. We have natural grocers. I think you do too as well.
Too, yeah.
Tell me more a little bit aesthetically how you want to design your store.
Well, that's a good question. Originally, I had a way bigger location, and conventionally, people have done the herringbone retail design. I wanted to do a loop, which is more kind of how, you know, larger food stores are designed. You know, so I guide people in and they get, you know, guided through the store until the tellers and then out the door. I found a smaller location and it has 2 entrances, so I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm going to do and what's going to work best. I'm really one to always like go against the grain. I'm like, oh, everyone's done the herringbone. I want to try something different. So I'll see. There's a food store in South Africa called Woolworths, and they have smaller and bigger locations, and their smaller locations are kind of what I'm looking at, the 2,000 square foot retail space. It's super cool. It's very neat. It's like black and white. You know, it's kind of like instead of the white feel where it's kind of new and fresh, it's kind of a darker aesthetic. You know, dark floors, dark roof, all of the signs or, you know, everything that's guiding you around the store is kind of dark with color. So that's kind of what I really like. I feel like it's more classy and classic. But again, I haven't really, I know I need to figure it out. Am I going to kind of go loop, or am I going to go herringbone, or am I going to go kind of the white with the wood, fresh, new concept, or kind of more of the classic, I think, like darker, more classier look?
Yeah, yeah, no, well, I love that you're doing so much research elsewhere and what's working. I also like the classy look where you've got dark contrasting with colors. I mean, I don't see that in a grocery store here. So I think that's awesome.
And I love that. And Woolworths is, it's a higher end food store in South Africa. They're all over, and they, you know, they're organic and all of that. And yeah, it's nice. They do a really good job. And I know that they've won like best store, you know, a few times. And so anyways, I got a bit to figure out still. I'm just trying to get all of the financials in place, and then that'll be my next task.
Okay. Well, one of my questions about your resource sustainability strategies, which it's really important to me and it's so important to everyone. So, but you've touched on some of that. So I think we can probably gloss over that. We don't need to kind of rehash what you've done there. Okay. Let's talk about some of your risks. You listed financial management, marketing strategies, and supply chain. I think you're right with all 3. Why don't you talk through each of those a little bit?
Okay, so I'll just start off by saying that I don't come from a retail background, which I probably should have listed as the first risk. I actually used to be in information technology, and I used to be a project manager. And a year ago, I decided I'm building this Earthship. You know, I've been very passionate about sustainability for a long time, and I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm just going to put it, you know, as much time as I can into this idea and try and launch this. So, you know, that's obviously, I come from not having a retail background, or I haven't really been involved in supply chain, logistics, or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, I've never really owned a business. I've owned a small LLC before where I did business consulting, but I never had staff, and you know, this is a totally different kettle of fish.
Yep.
So I guess, you know, I'm just hoping that I have done enough research, that I, you know, have figured out enough of the unknowns. But I know for a fact that you know, there are things I haven't thought about, and I'm just trying to, even at this point, still try and research as much as I can, ask as many questions as I can, try to get as much information as I can about things that I don't know.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's just kind of talk about some of your numbers. I know you don't have these, you know, maybe you've got some projections in your head, but is there sort of an average suggested retail price if you were to look at your entire store? You know, someone comes up to the register and it rings a product through. Is there an average SRP that you think you're looking at?
So I have got my financial projections, and I've worked on a basket price, because I don't have like one product, of $80 a basket.
Okay.
So my projections, you know, for for month 1 would be kind of 11 shoppers daily, projected sales at about $866 for a day for the first month. Yeah, $80 baskets, and looking at about $135 revenue per square foot in month 1, and then I'm growing that to break even point month 12, so within the first year. So growing the revenue per square foot from $135 to $313 is my goal. And that gives, puts me at 25 shoppers a day at that $80 basket price. So those are my projections. The square footage has been super valuable, and actually I got that from NADA, and that's helped me like work back, also just understanding break-even points for both NADA and Nude Foods in Cape Town. And then what I did is I built out 3 different financial projections for different size stores, and then I kind of so then it started making sense. Like the store in Cape Town, he's very small, and he broke even at month 5. And when I built out my revenue models for 1,200 square foot, 2,000 and 3,000 square foot spaces, those numbers started to make sense. Okay, you broke even quicker because your size was smaller. That's kind of that information's just been so super valuable, and that's helped me kind of build all of this out and kind of check myself and make sure I'm somewhat on track, even though there's still projections and nothing's based on reality. But it's been helpful to know what margins or milestones they hit at what points, and kind of build my models around that.
So you're looking at your break even, and it sounds like it's about 17,000 a day. Is my math right there? 80 times 25 shoppers a day.
Yeah, 80 times, yep, $2,000 a day.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2,000 a day. Okay. And then so your basket size of $80 each.
Yep.
That's pretty good. I don't know a lot about retail, but
I mean, I think if you're just buying staples, milk, butter, bread, cheese, so that's another thing that doesn't exist. I'm not going to be doing, I would love to have a butchery partner, and maybe that's something I do at a later stage, but we will be doing cheese and just normal cheese. We will have fancier cheeses, sure, but I just want to be able to give people the option to buy a pound of mozzarella for their lasagna without any plastic.
Great.
So yeah, cheese. I just kind of looked at my grocery list and did that for a long time. Looked at what I was buying weekly. It's just my husband and I, so we don't have any kids, and that's one of my demographics is married without kids. And I just kind of looked at what we were spending, a week on going to the grocery store, and so that's kind of the information that I've plugged in,
Okay. And then, so can you give me a sort of a general what your cost of goods is, or what you would buy product at versus what you'd resell it? What's that margin or spread?
So this is something I definitely had a question and was hoping you could maybe help me with. So I did a bunch of research when I found you. So I've built all of my financial projections on a 50% margin.
Yep.
So 100% markup, 50% margin. So basically buying it for $10, selling it for $20 type thing. And I was happy to see that in some of your blogs, that's sort of what you recommend, or what you've stated is the average for a food store like this, where it's organic and that kind of thing. I will also be sourcing through UNFI, so I was excited to see that you mentioned that, and then a little confused by the 65% margin at that point, and I wasn't sure how I accommodate that. So yeah, that's something that's definitely, I've just built it this way. I'm hoping that that's in reality how it would work out. Obviously there's some products, some like the milk partnership that I have, the margin's very low. They give you prices that they want you to sell at. So not on things like that, but on the dry goods and the wet goods like shampoos and all the soaps, laundry detergents and stuff. I'm hoping that it can be a 50% margin.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen, at least selling into specialty and to UNFI, like generally it's a 50 margin. So So if I sell it for $10, the retailer would mark it up to 20. UNFI is getting 15. I mean, that, again, that's a real loose rule of thumb. So, I mean, that's kind of something you'll just have to play with. It's more who you're sourcing it from and the categories. You'll know that better than I would. But I'd say probably 50 is probably a good general way that you're approaching it right now.
Yeah, and the research that I did, so I built out these extensive product lists, and with what I was looking at that point, 50 was perfectly fine. Actually, across the product line, I mean, with nuts and chocolates and things that are more expensive, I had it at a smaller margin, but then I had it other things at a higher margin because I could, but on average, I was looking at 50%. And that's just with, that's a different supplier, not UNFI. So that's kind of where, because I don't have a reseller certificate yet, well, I had one for Missouri. So Kansas City sits on 2 states, as you probably know, and the original location that I was looking at would be in Missouri. Well, the one that I'm going with is in Kansas. So the resale certificate, I have to get a new one. So I haven't been able to do the wholesale account with UNFI. But anyways, my
Okay.
research, I think 50% margin is hopefully accurate and at
Okay.
least in the ballpark.
And so kind of just to round out some of your high level financials, any sense on what percentage you're going to allocate to marketing?
Good question, great question. I think off the bat, I have a little bit of a budget. It's not crazy. Let me have a look here. $150 a month.
Okay.
For advertising, and I'd probably just use Facebook because my following on Facebook, I mean, it's such a phenomenal platform to market to or market through. And then hopefully, through the membership program and things like that, I can, that would just pay for itself and I wouldn't need to put any money in. And then there's other fun things. I know this is probably not necessarily marketing, but like we'll have a composting bin outside, a large one. So when people come and shop, they can bring a lot of apartment dwellers. They want to be able to separate their wet waste and compost it. But what do you do with your bin once it's full in your kitchen? So kind of things like that. And then also a TerraCycle drop-off point at the shop so people can bring other things in. So again, I know that's not marketing, but these are kind of value-added things that I'm hoping will, keep customers and even bring them in. Just maybe they just want a TerraCycle drop-off location that's close by. I don't know, and they can hopefully come in and see. So with the CSA too, I probably will start with doing CSA when I kick off. And that brings people in to pick up their CSA bag, and they're already doing that through these local growers, and then hopefully they buy some eggs and some milk and stuff while they're there.
Okay. So kind of just doing some real quick math. If you're targeting a break even at 2,000, your cost of goods is around 50%. So that's 1,000. So your marketing is 150 a month. That gives you $850. So that's probably the 850 is probably the rest of your operating cost. Is that correct? On a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about it on a daily basis like that, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Assuming you hit your break even and your goals, that's kind of a general way to look at it, right?
Okay.
Okay. Any sense on, customer lifetime value or what it's going to cost you to acquire a customer?
No, I loved all those questions, and I see how it is, all embedded in your all of your content, and something I haven't thought about at all, which is crazy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would assume that at least how I've done my budget, $150 to kind of Facebook to market to new customers. So that's probably the cost, and I don't know how many new customers I can get from that budget, and that's kind of the cost, I guess, of getting a customer and then retaining the customer, hopefully again through the compost bin and TerraCycle drop-off points and these educational programs and events and stuff like that. I need to probably have a look at what that would cost and kind of what that retention strategy looks like.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, is a customer lifetime value or the acquisition cost, is that something that's ever come up in your research or even talking with some other markets like yours? Is this something they look at? Do they have figures like this?
So when I met with Paul Rubin from Nude Foods in Cape Town, he told me the closest thing that I can get to what you're asking is, he said, this is what's going to happen. People are going to come into your store for the first time because it's new and it's different and it's amazing, and they're not going to shop. They're just going to come look at it.
Interesting.
Then he said the second time they'll come back, and the second time they'll buy something small, like some chocolate, or they're just testing the waters. They just want to see how all of this works. And then he said the third time they come in, they're shopping. They're getting what they need. They come with a list. So that's basically all I know. I know that the first few times, besides the people that I have that's following me right now, that I have answering all of these questions as part of my market survey, that are writing to me regularly, asking me when I'm opening. I mean, I feel like I have those people. They'll come in and probably from the first day, shop. But the new people, where I'm exposing this kind of new concept to them, I feel like that's pretty much what's going to happen. They're going to come in, they're going to check it out, and they're going to come in and buy just a few things, and then I have them kind of at the third time that they come in.
So you really, when you kind of look at your funnel and acquisition process, you really have to make an impression that first time, even though they're not shopping, so they come back. So it's almost like you got to think about, they're going to come once, what can you do to really grab them at that point that no one else does, that's going to get them to come back. So, I mean,
and I
that's a
have,
great way.
so when I was researching how to lay out a retail outlet, and researching like some of the terms that I mentioned before, the herringbone and the loop, and how you design these things, some of the information that I came across that was interesting, I'd never thought about it, is what all of this looks like and what people experience. So what does the shop look like from the outside, and then as soon as they enter the door, that's a zone. So what does that experience look like for them, and then once they're in the store and then leaving the store again. So that's definitely things that I'm thinking about as I think about how to build the store out, and I'm hoping that that whole experience that people get when they walk in and at all those different zones throughout the store, that's just super amazing. And they want to come back.
No, that's, I mean, that's, to me, is a great problem to think about, is how you make yourself different versus what's out there. So you get creative, but I love thinking about that kind of stuff. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, so let's kind of just jump to some of the balance sheet stuff, and then we'll kind of start to close with a few other things. Okay. You said your funding raise is about 20,000. Is that kind of your money, combination? Where's that coming from?
Oh, I did say that. Maybe, okay, in the application. So, no, I need like so much money. I need $200,000. But I have done, I've kind of designed it. So basically, if I'm working with an SBA, a small business association representative, that's going to try and get me a loan through a bank, a conventional financial institution.
Okay,
so that's what I'm working on. And then the investors that I have, I've managed to secure the down payment for the loan. However, I could raise all of the funding that I need, the $200,000, by basically giving away, with convertible debt notes, what I've worked out to be 60% of the company. And then the terms that I've come up with that, I'll get a lawyer to document and ratify would be basically, this would be a 36-month kind of situation where, every year they would make 4% on their investment that would be paid out annually. And then at year 3, it would be the maturity date for the debt note. And then at that point, I would have the option to, they would be able to convert their initial investment for 6% of the company. And I will also have the option to buy that out. So at that point, they either get 6% of the company, or I give them, a little bit more money. So they're, I've worked it out that they're making, well, let me have a look here. I think it's 44% return on their investment over 3 years.
Sure.
And I've got 10 of these notes available And that would give me the $200,000 that I need.
And then you
But
said is that
yeah,
so it's $200,000 for 6% of the company?
no, it's 20,000. So $20,000 would give you 6%
Oh, I
at
see, I see.
maturity date.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
$200 would be 60%. So my backup plan is that if I can't get the money as a normal loan with the down payment and kind of the equity that I have, then I'd be able to then go to more investors and try and get raise the money that way with convertible debt notes. And I have 10 notes that are available to investors.
got it. And then so your valuation then initially is around 400,000 post money, assuming you raised 200. Is that
And that's
what?
assuming I did the evaluation correctly. Excuse my ignorance. What I did is I just built out my financial projections for 3 years. I kind of know what both the retail and the online should bring in every year. And then basically I just took that, once it stabilized, I just took that amount of profit and I times it by 2.5 years. So I'm not sure if I've done the evaluation correctly. I think I have. And then, yeah, so the evaluation would be, I'm evaluating the company at, yeah,
Got it.
$440,000.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Um, okay. Tell me. I mean, we probably already covered a lot of why you got into this.
Yeah.
What's sort of your long-term goal and vision behind all this?
Long-term goal is I'd like to get it off the ground. I'd like to get the online, the home delivery off the ground. My husband and I have 10 acres of land in Lawrence, which is about an hour away. It's a little university town in Kansas, super cute. And that's where we're building our airship. So long term, we kind of would move out there. And I'm starting the first retail in Kansas City. So I'd probably want to open another location out there, potentially in like 2 years' time.
Okay.
And maybe at that point, once everything's stabilized, then, the processes and the systems and the staffing and everything's like down to a T, I would probably sell is kind of maybe my exit strategy. Um, but I'm not, I'm not sure. Maybe just bow out. I don't know. I think selling would probably be what I'd want to do.
Okay. 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 So some kind of some final questions here. Is there any particular information or news or intelligence service that you follow or get the most out of that other people may be interested in?
Yeah, from a zero waste perspective, I follow the Zero Waste Chef. She's based in California and she's amazing. And you can find her all over social media. I obviously follow a lot of these zero waste stores, NADA, and they're doing incredible work in Canada, the Source Bulk Foods in Australia, and then also Good For in New Zealand. They also have a bunch of locations in New Zealand.
Okay.
Other than that, I follow all the usual stuff, Greenpeace
Sure.
and National Geographics, staying up to date with all my environmental news.
Okay. And is there like a favorite tool you're using to grow your business? Could be a piece of software, a spreadsheet model you've created, a process you've learned and adapted?
I used to be in information technology and I used to help businesses with technology. So there's a bunch that I would obviously recommend. I myself am not using too much. I'm using the Google Suite, which is awesome. I see you do the same. You have everything, essentially stored and accessible from anywhere, any device. So I love the Google Suite. And then I use Canva, Canva. And that is a online design program, and it's really
Canva, Canva, they're great.
Yeah,
Canva's
they're
awesome.
great.
Okay.
So I use Canva, and then all the stuff that I have, it's just subscription. I do have Office as well, and that's a monthly subscription. I have my website on Wix, that's a monthly subscription, and my hosting with GoDaddy, and that's a monthly subscription because until I'm at that point where I'm buying a year or two, I'm just paying it monthly. It works out to be, it's small amounts every month, so it
Yep.
doesn't hurt you when you're starting up.
Yep.
And as soon as I
Absolutely.
have all my finances in place, I will make it more long term.
Okay.
But yeah, those are all the things that I'm using at the
Okay.
moment.
And obviously, like this kind of is your second startup because you already mentioned that you kind of did consulting on the side, but this is just a startup in a different category, correct?
Yeah, so when I first got to the States, because I didn't have any work experience here, it was really hard to find another project management gig. So I just, yeah, I did a bunch of business consulting for startups actually, and helped them design processes, kind of a lot of business analyst work, and then some project management IT kind of stuff. But never got to the stage where I kind of at the stage where I needed to start hiring people and kind of then outsourcing, their skills and my skills. I kind of panicked, and then I was actually able at that point to get a project management job with H&R Block. So I did that for a bit. Yeah, so I didn't really grow my company. I mean, yeah, I did start one, but I never really did too much with it. I had it for 2 years and then kind of, yeah, bowed out and just went back to just a normal project management job. So this is a whole new kettle of fish for me. I'm excited about what I'm doing, and hopefully I'm
Great.
successful.
Okay. And then, so last question is,
Yeah.
any advice for someone else that's looking to do a startup sort of in your sector or industry?
Yeah, try and grow your network as much as possible. Use what you have already. Sit down and think about it, because you might not think that you have much, but you probably have met people that can help you. In my case, a few years back with the business consulting, I made an organization called Slow Money, and they link farmers and ranchers with investors, and that's where I started. I did a Slow Money Shark Tank
Oh, slow
pitch in
money. Yep. Yep.
February. So yeah, think about what you have, try and grow your network. I also started with just putting everything down in a business plan, and I just used a Word document template. I just literally put in business plan and then populated a template, and that was my starting point. From there, I built out my financials, in Excel. Luckily, I'm pretty decent at using Excel, so that came in handy. And then what I also did is, Kansas City has so many tools for entrepreneurs and startups. So I got a business mentor through an organization called SCORE.
Yep.
And he has helped me so much. He's been immensely valuable. And so, yeah, over the last 6 months, I've just reworked and I've redone my numbers and thought so much more through, and then obviously meeting people that have done these kind of things before. So yeah, just a lot of research. Like, do as much research as you can, and then when you think you don't know, you're probably still about 6 months away from knowing. So just keep plugging away. Get mentors, ask questions, network, grow your network. I think that's been super valuable to me. And then, I think a lot of cities, I don't think Kansas City is unique in having a bunch of resources available. So try and find those, because there's a lot out there to help entrepreneurs and startups.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Marcel, this concludes our interview. So
Thanks,
thank
Ed.
you very much for doing this. I wish you the best of luck, and
Thank
please
you.
keep in touch.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me.